When anything's bothering me and I'm feeling unhappy, I just try to think of nice things. Showers with inmates in skimpy attire, sadistic guards tied up with some wire, lesbian bunkmates wearing G-strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Reform School Girls from 1986. Yet another women in prison film, but this one has its tongue planted firmly in its cheek. And that's not a bad place to put a tongue. This was actually one of the first women in prison films I heard of as a kid because there was a poster of it in one of my favorite movies from my childhood, The Lost Boys. It would, of course, be a number of years before my parents would let me watch it. So let's take a look at one of the very first women in prison films that I heard of as a child. We open on a smoking hot girl smoking in a car. She looks a little nervous. And then, gunshots in action. The music here is great, which isn't too surprising since it's performed by punk rock musician Wendy O. Williams. Wendy has a few songs on the soundtrack, and they all rule. In fact, she's even one of the stars of the movie. She'll show up a bit later. Anyway, the car couple do a decent job of getting away until... Title card. Nice. A no-nonsense cold open. The girl, Jenny, is sentenced to 3 years in a reform school. She arrives with some other girls and the intake process begins. Like many women in prison films, this intake process includes a group shower, and naturally, that's nothing you can see here on YouTube.
Man, I just work here.
But of course, we don't have to stay here. You can now support the channel on Patreon and get access to spicy versions of my reviews. Link is in the description. And then we can tell this movie is from 40 years ago.
State your size, small, medium, or large.
That's right, in 1986, girls didn't come in XL. Except for this one. This is our film's main antagonist, Edna, played wonderfully by Pat Ast. She shows the girls to their dorm. For some reason, all of the girls in dorm 14 lounge around in lingerie, so I won't be showing you much of that either. The new girls are assigned bunks, but one of those bunks is already taken by Wendy O. Williams, the punk rock musician I mentioned earlier. She will be one of the other antagonists in this here picture show. So a fight over the bunk ensues, but again, considering the lack of clothing, there's not much you'll be able to see here. I mean, nobody's naked yet, but think about where we are.
It is a silly place.
That night, one of the other new girls wakes up and tries to retrieve her stuffed animal, and that doesn't go well. The next day in the shower, Jenny notices that some of the girls have marks on their behinds, like brands of a sort.
I don't see no marks.
There's marks on those girls.
I said I don't see no marks. Neither do you.
Mysterious. At dinner later, we get a new character. Oh no, Sybil Danning is in this movie? The girls, of course, are not fans. I suppose they too had seen Howling Part 2.
Bitch, I'll never forgive you for this.
We learned that Sybil Danning is the warden of this school, and she's fully on board with the torturous practices of Edna. Jenny eventually decides an escape attempt is worth the risk, and the price for a ride in the truck is a ride in the truck. But that truck driver is none too trustworthy.
I get something for you in the back.
End of the line, sister.
So Jenny will be in the hole for a while, and this leaves her friend vulnerable to the desires of Wendy O. Williams, who would like to add another girl to her stable. Ah, that's what those brands were. But not all hope is lost, because the counselor would like to help expose the torturous activities of this reform school. Will justice prevail? Well, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. For me, women in prison films are worth watching for the sleaze, but are elevated into something far more enjoyable by the villains. And this one has two great villains, Pat Ast as Edna and Wendy O. Williams as Charlie. Edna is wonderfully, comically sadistic who becomes more and more unhinged as the film progresses. By the end, she's a shotgun-wielding, wailing maniac. What a fantastic and fun performance. She's great. And then Wendy O. Williams is in this movie. Wow. She was a really cool musician. Both her stuff with the Plasmatics and then her solo stuff kind of bridge that gap between punk and metal, and if that sounds like something that might be your thing, you should check her out. It's fun to have her here in this. Her presence here, though, is a bit weird. I mean, maybe I'm misinformed, but I thought a reform school was for minors, and she's clearly in her 30s, but who cares? It's fun. Especially later in the film when she gets on top of that bus. So great. Beyond the villains, we've got those elements we expect with women in prison films: skimpy uniforms, shower scenes, torture, fun stuff like that. Which is all particularly good because everyone looks great in those scenes. So if you're looking for a campy women in prison film that doesn't take itself too seriously, but still manages to deliver those elements we expect from a women in prison film, look no further.
I'm gonna check that out.
But despite everything I just said, the film's not perfect. Like a prison gang leader branding a new horse, this film has some shortcomings. Well, as much as I appreciate the campy tone this movie achieves, it doesn't always stick to that tone. This movie occasionally goes to some pretty dark places, and I don't mind dark places, of course. In fact, I rather like them, but bouncing back and forth from those places to camp is a bit jarring. Beyond that, while I also appreciate the fact this movie is both a parody of women in prison films and a women in prison film that actually delivers the sleazy elements we expect, I do wish it had delivered more. The shower scenes, for example, could have been longer.
That's what I want.
On the other hand, if you're kind of new to the genre, this isn't a bad place to start. Overall, it's hard to complain too much. The film did what it was supposed to do and had fun doing it, so it's certainly worth a watch, which is a testament to the entertainment value of women in prison films. Some things are always fun to watch: undead zombies munching on people, masked killers slashing teenagers, and scantily clad women fighting each other and being sprayed with hoses.